Howdy all. So it's another time for one of these videos, and today is something a little bit different. So a couple of days ago, I was away for about 2 weeks, and as you know, I'm a staunch, or used to be a very staunch Arch Linux user. No matter the version of Arch, I used it. I mean, heck, the channel is called Arch's Arch. Anyway, I knew I was going to be away for a couple of days, but unfortunately, due to some health issues, it ended up taking about 2 weeks away from my machine. So when I eventually got back home, I powered on my Arch install that I had, with one of the derivatives, and of course I did an update, and I started having issues with dependencies and stuff. Some of the software would update, some of the software wouldn't update, and then key corruptions. And of course, I tried to repair the keys. I tried to individually update certain bits of software. I tried to remove and re-add software sources. I tried to do everything that you do, just to get Pac-Man running again. Now, I and before someone tells me, oh, you should have looked on Arch.com's website first. Yes, I did, and there was nothing major there, so I didn't miss anything there. So I thought, I love Arch so much, but it's sometimes it's like a baby at times. You sometimes, depending on your hardware setup, especially for example, my machine, I have an NVIDIA graphics card on my laptop that I run these videos from, and it doesn't always play nicely for whatever reason. And you know, I thought, for the next couple of weeks, I know I'm going to be pretty busy, as well as doing more content onto this channel. Uh, I have my own life as well. And as much as I enjoy installing Arch, if I'm going to just to be resetting up my machine how often, it's just not practical. So I thought, hey, you know what other distros can I try that I've never tried before? And of course, I've heard so much about Pop! OS, and even other YouTubers recently spoke about Pop! OS, and I thought, well, I'm not always the biggest Ubuntu-based distro fan. I have nothing against them. It's just, not really my cup of tea. Well, all that I can tell you is I'm so glad I've tried it. So I went and I downloaded Pop! OS 2204 LTS, which is based on the latest Ubuntu 2204 LTS. Uh, Downloaded it with the NVIDIA drivers and installed it. And as you can see here on the screen, 64-bit of course, uses NOM 42.2 X11. And all I'm going to say is wow. Now, this is coming from a staunch KDE person that used to use GNOME or GNOME and a staunch Arch person. And all I can tell you is I wish more distros were like this out of the box. So first, of course, if you don't know what Pop is made by System76, which is a manufacturer of dedicated Linux hardware. And they sell all sorts of desktops, laptops, and mini machines where you can preload Ubuntu or uh, Pop! OS onto it. And of course, Pop! OS is essentially System 76 derivative of Ubuntu. So they take the Ubuntu base and they take out snaps and they replace it with Flatpaks. And what they also do is they've got a customized GNOME interface as well. And with their plugin into GNOME, they call it Cosmos. Um, Desktop environment, and then they also go ahead and use some newer other bits of software. So, for example, they don't use the RTS Linux kernel at the moment. Now we've got 5.18 that's just been released. So it's kind of like a taking Ubuntu uh, and turning some parts into it in a bit of a rolling release type thing. So it's not really proper rolling, but it's Ubuntu, but it's newer than just the standard stuff and standard. And wow, this is just stupidly awesome. Now, for example, the first thing, of course, is the customer customizability. How you can just make this thing look. So here, for example, normal default about page. Looks really no. know me, I know. But then you start looking under the additional functions, and here, for example, you can. Do you want to show workspaces bar at the top? Yes or no. Do you want to show applications? Yes or no. Date and time. Do you want it at the center, left, or right? Do you want to maximize, minimize buttons? Um, yes, of course. You can do that just using gnome tweaks as well. But just having this all pre-built in here is pretty awesome. Again, they've got light or dark mode. I prefer dark mode in recent times. Um, you can have the dock where it's visible, and of course all sorts of additional settings on the dock. Do you want it to go to the edge of the screen? Do you only want it in the middle? I like it to the edge of the screen. Why? I have no clue. Visible, hide it, the size of it, where do you want it? Bottom of the screen, the side. Um, do you want center, start? How do you want it aligned? So I'm comparing this with other things like Dash to Dock, which is a normal extension for GNOME as well. Pretty much comes very similar. I find this more customizable. It's a nice balance between having 101 million options and something basic. Um, Workspace options as well. How many workspaces do you need? Pretty much this. So what they've done to GNOME is made it fairly usable for people. In all honesty, now I have nothing personally against the direction that GNOME took with GNOME 3. I used to use GNOME 2. I stopped using it at GNOME 3, and on and off with extensions. But how it is pretty much out of the box is great. I've added one or two of my own extensions and made my own, changes by using GNOME Tweak tool. So, for example, my you know minimize and exit buttons I've moved from the right to the left, just because my other machine was Mac. So, I like having some consistency going on here. Um, and I've added additional, add-ons here, temperature add-ons, my an R clone add-on where I can choose what stuff I want to mount and don't want to mount. Show my desktop, uh, my clipboard, as well as a pull-down terminal, and of course um, other options as well. So what's pretty nice about Pop as well is this thing is so stable. So, like, let's say you hit the super key, and of course you get this pop up here. And at the moment here, as an example, it's actually showing me what applications I have open. So then, of course, I could go Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, and it will change which application you've got open. And if you want to open up an application, so let's say text, you would just type it in, and then you could hit Enter or press the Control V option, and it will show you which option again. So if I go here and I type in text again, and now I hit, it's a Control 2, it's going to open up an example, my machine Sublime, which I have pre-installed. And of course I can just super key and Q to quit it. Now of course what's also pretty great here is there's quite a couple of options you can do here. So for example, you can, if you hit question marks, you can do calculator options as well. So let's say you can do 100 divided by 10, right? And it's even showing you the option. Here's the first result, where you could hit enter, and you can see the result is actually there. Pretty cool. I know this is kind of like a slimmed down version of KRunner. That KDE desktop uses, but this has less features, but really nice, because sometimes less is more. So you can even do a web search. So let's say, for example, if you were to use DDG, you would do DDG, and you would type in the search result what you're going to search, or let's say you're going to do Google, you just type in Google. Now, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way where you can change the search engines at the moment. It is what it is. So let's say I was to do DDG, and I was just to type Ubuntu versus Pop OS, and I was to hit enter. But bam, it will automatically just give me a new tab in my browser with whatever search result there is. Hit it again. Again, I'm just going to type in question mark for more options. And of course, there's other stuff you can run in a terminal. So let's say you want to run a command straight in terminal. You would literally then then literally type in the option run, and you could just go, you know, calendar or something, and it will actually run that command, and um, you know, show whatever it is in whatever terminal you've configured as default. Like, I think that's like pretty cool, especially if you like to do updates and you have your own custom alias command set, like I've configured with my bash file. Again, you know, the other stuff as well. If you want to find a file, you would just type in find, and then you would just type in, for example, whatever the name of the file is, and hit enter, and it'll do a system search. So this is really, really great. Pretty, really explanatory to you. So another great feature I like about it as well. So I'm going to do just open it again and type in text again. Let's say you can see I've now got a text editor here, and I don't want to change between windows, so of course there's Alt Tab, but you could just hit this again, and let's say I want to go to back to Brave, just Control 3, and change this windows here. So really multifunctional. So you literally can search for apps, or you can change windows, or you can do basic terminal and web searches into the pop-up here. Really, really awesome. Another thing as well here, the applications menu. So here I've added some of my own additional applications. This is not what's default, um, but you can create your own customized folders. So for example, under recording, often this is, I've created one, and this is often the software I use for, when I record stuff. Really great, and literally all that you do is you take something and drag it into relevant folder. So let's say Alacrity, I want to move it under utility. It will be gone from home to utilities, and you should see Alacrity is over here. Really great, and of course games or music, Office, excuse me, various other apps here as well. And you can scroll down and it's all there. Again, simple, straight to the point. It's a nice compromise between having this massive full screen menu and just having individual options to click on. Don't know about you, but it kind of reminds me in iOS or in Android, when the start screen, when you create your own little folders and you move your applications in there. It's exactly the same concept. I think it works pretty well here on the desktop. Um, Other great options as well that you'll see here is it actually has the option of timing window. So I'm first going to show you here. So there's the pop shell keyboard shortcuts, and let's say you rather want to use a tiny window manager or Pop OS, you click on this icon here, and it will now actually start. It will change. So literally now you'll have the option: do you want tiny windows instead of floating windows? Do you want to have all your stuff tiled, except for some applications you rather want them to just be still float, so you can combine it. And of course, if you want to change something, you would use these shortcuts here. Again, which is I think pretty cool. So in this case, I've actually made mine a little bit too big, but you could use super key and M, which would minimize it or maximize it. So I could do super Y and go super M, maximize it, hit it again, etc. Or if I wanted to move the window, I would use my arrow keys, and of course I could go super enter and use the arrow keys on where I want to move it, hit enter, and it will move it back there. So basically, turns this into a mini dining window. Wish more desktop environments gave this option. And of course, again, that's where this comes in really useful on the menu on where you want to actually change onto which different windows you want to open or launch. So I'm just going to turn this, and you can turn it on and off as things go by. So I think that's pretty cool. Then drivers. Then of course the store. The pop shop. not great, not bad. Um, Definitely can see comes from elementary OS. It gives you the option of some applications here. It also builds in for little tech from the main flat pack hub. You know, that's like most things. Find the application, click on the application, and it'll give you a bit of info about it. Hit install and install it. Nothing really to write home about. Most be honest with you, I've had sometimes random issues where I've sometimes had this thing crash. You choose a piece of software, pop shot just vanishes, reopen it again, and it works. Um, if you want to know the system sources, Control S, and here it's great. It actually tells you do you want community maintained software and restricted, copyrighted. Again, comes from Ubuntu. The type of backports and security updates you want. Um, Extra sources installed. I've installed some extra 1 or 2 sources by myself, and of course, giving the option of what Flatpak um, sources do you want. You could manually go add it, and you'll then obviously be able to search here and find it and come up. If you need to do updates, um, usually in the installed option, it will give you the option to just hit updates, and it'll go ahead and install it. Would be great if they maybe just gave this a bit of a give the overview, definitely showing its age, but I mean it still works. Right. It's kind of sad because the rest of the environment's actually so well done. But I mean, not every it's not bad. It's just not everything I guess can be perfect. And also it's me nitpicking. I mean, really. So take what I said there with a grain of salt. Um, then of course additional drivers. Again, here in my case, of course, it's showing what video drivers I'm using. Again, this comes from Ubuntu does this out of the box as well. Except in Ubuntu, you actually have to manually go and choose the correct driver. So I can thank Ubuntu for that functionality. And of course, moving into the left space there, you can see the whole large workspaces with the different apps open. So that's pretty great. Um, the rest of it, of course, it installs applications normally, normal Debian files. So if something works for Ubuntu, it's going to work for Pop! OS because it is practically Ubuntu with a bit of extra love on top of it. Let me just show you some extensions here to give you a bit of context. Okay, Arc menu I tried to install, it didn't work, so I'm just going to actually just hit remove, so ignore that. So a couple of extra ones I've added, but built in here, of course, the Cosmic Dock, Cosmic Workspaces, X11 Extras, and this is the default uh, extensions that come in that I say, it's personal opinion, makes GNOME actually quite usable. Now, in case you didn't know, Cosmic themselves, sorry, not Cosmic, System 76 is developing Cosmic into a standalone environment that's not dependent on GNOME. And they're rebuilding it in Rust, and it's still in alpha status, and they're still working towards it. So eventually, it's not going to be essentially just GNOME with a good amount of extensions. But that still seems to be quite a while away. But again, at the moment, the way it is, it's great for someone like me. I can just add my own extensions into GNOME 42, and it works. No issues at all. What else? Performance-wise, I've had no issues. Steam has worked perfectly. Any game that's needed a Proton has works perfectly. Just customizing my Bash environment like everything else has been my normal. Um, I do appreciate having some newer kernel info stuff coming out. Um, so getting a bit of newer system software there. I'm using Flatpaks for my application, so I don't really miss the AUR so much from Arch. A little bit here and there, But again, I'm getting my new applications from Flatpaks, and it's fine. So, in summary, yeah, I think Pop! OS is absolutely great. For definitely for the short term, I'm going to carry on using it. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, distro I've used personally because it allows one to get up and running quickly. Um, and especially if you're using NVIDIA hardware, it makes it a lot easier compared to normal Ubuntu. you know, you can achieve this in Ubuntu as well. Go change more extensions in GNOME and Ubuntu. Take out Snap and swap it for Flatpaks. You're going to pretty much get the same environment. You might you're going to struggle with getting some additional software though, because 2204 is going to be stuck on the same kernel in Ubuntu for quite a while. So, but you're going to get something pretty close to this. So, out of 10, I would give this 11. I think it's absolutely awesome. Um, I'd recommend seasoned users to use it if you just actually want to get to a point where you've got your machine set up and working, and you need to do other stuff with it. And if you're a new user, I'd even use this as well. It works pretty nicely out the box. It defaults to ext4, but again, you can manually go and choose PTFS as well, or XFS as your file system of choice. Really self-dependent there. And it's even small stuff again, like right-clicking on the desktop. Um, you know, do I want to desktop icon settings? Again, it gives me additional options here. Do I want to see icons? Do I not want to see icons? Do I want, what size do I want? Yes, there's other extensions I can do this in GNOME, but I need something else. This is more built into what they've done here with Cosmic. So, yeah, perfectly. This is for me is Ubuntu and GNOME with saner defaults, and I'm able to work. I'm literally I've had no issues. In fact, at times I've had better performance. Um, Recording videos, no issues at all. Playing games, no issues at all. Just doing normal internet browsing, no issues at all. And what's also really nice is because of the hybrid graphics, if I go here and I select on the power option here, it actually gives me, do I want battery life, balance, or high performance power for my laptop? Yes, you can do this in normal GNOME as well, but it's easy and accessible here. What's nice here, of course, is you can choose to want your integrated hybrid and video. Yes, I could do this in in Arch by using Optimus Qt Manager, but this is really nice. I mean, to be out of the box and to be able to do this. And so, but how's that beneficial? Well, let me show you. Instead of having to, and I found this, I'd have to reboot the whole time and choose what graphics card I wanted to use to run something. You could directly pass through Infer, but I just found it never worked. So I can now right click on something and launch using my integrated graphics card, or I can, you know, right click and launch it using my discrete graphics card. I think that's pretty cool. Steam automatically will load using my NVIDIA card, and of course here, just right clicking on Steam, I have all these options here. So I could literally run the whole time in the day using my Intel card. My machine runs cooler, and when I want to use something more graphics intensive, I can just right click on it and tell it to use the NVIDIA card, and if it's Steam, it knows to do it automatically. It's more quality of life features like that. You can do it in other distros, I know that, but having it here, right click, get it done. A for the win. Um, criticisms, of course, is the app store's a bit not the best, but again, that's cosmetic and can be worked on. Knowing the future of the desktop, once we have Cosmic fully rebuilt in Rust, we don't know. Will we have the option of still having Pop! OS with Cosmic based on GNOME with extensions, or will it be straight with Rust? Again, that's the future right now. This is an LTS release, so that should be good for at least 2 years. No issues there. But yeah, timing, I think this is pretty cool, pretty great. And I'd love to hear your comments about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? But yeah, I think this is pretty much a good balance between having stability, some newer pieces of software, saying the defaults, and now I don't have to baby my machine the whole time. I can actually get on with my life and do other stuff as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, looking forward to your comments. Bye for now.